You are about to experience visual complexity. Our story of Homo, from the Big Bang to the present moment, necessarily omits much. Our approach recalls Flatlanders or outsider views, like Linton's famous NERWHA essay. Imagine your spaceship flew by a planet, and you had 5 Earth minutes to report the story. Central ideas include context defines meaning, and design is a link between disciplines. The pan-human, art-based narrative, using art to teach world history. We begin with a nod to big history and the Big Bang 15 billion years ago. Using a scale of 1/2 inch equals 1,000 years. The universe begins 95 miles away. What is 95 miles away from you right now? Our solar system is born 4.6 billion years ago, or 29 miles away. Life appeared on planet Earth 3.5 billion years ago, or 22 miles away. The current dominant predator, Homo, evolved 5 million years ago, or 208 feet away. Homo sapiens, the wise, is at least 100,000 years ago in Africa, a mere 50 inches away. Emergence into awareness, of existence, of self in society, that is, identity, is marked with red ochre handprints. On the left is a print from the San in South Africa. The multiple handprints on the right are actually in Patagonia. Red ochre handprints occur around the world on every continent and are such an interesting story that there is an article devoted exclusively to them elsewhere on www.kickworldart.info. Homo looked up and around and saw sun and moon in heaven and mountains, rivers, plants, and animals on earth. Knowing they did not produce this, and being social creatures, they established rapport with whatever power they thought did. They experienced a range of states of consciousness and needed to account for them somehow. The art form symbolizing awakening to identity is portraiture, including masks, those status identity markers of both life and death. On the left is a Benin ivory mask, 1500 CE. In the center, a 20th century Mali Dama ceremony to ease passage to afterlife, and on the right, an Egyptian sarcophagus. After emergence, Homo spread across the planet, which is signified by Oceania and 2 art forms. One is Jomon pottery, the longest ceramic vessel-making tradition on Earth, which continued for 13,000 years. Maritime diets, travel upon the waters, diaspora, journeys, remembering, dreaming, remembering dreaming. Oceania is home to the longest continuing culture of 50,000 years. Here, Homo painted the beauty of dreaming and journey. Lapita pottery vessels trace human migration and settling of the Pacific Ocean from 2000 to 500 BCE. This raises many interesting ideas, from archaeoastronomy to how the sweet potato, a New World staple crop, appears in so many art forms, not to mention stories and stomachs, in Oceania, where it arrived by 400 CE. Emergence and spread are followed by flowering with text and tower in the typesite of Eurasia. From Newgrange in Ireland, on the left is Irish script from 5,000 years ago, the same time as Stonehenge. Our time-space conversion scale is 2.5 inches away. In other words, the historic period when writing begins around 3000 BCE is less than the width of your hand. Across the continent, text and tower rise together. On the left, Chartres Cathedral in France, in the center the Taj Mahal in India, and on the right, the Forbidden City in Beijing. We are at last at our present moment in the Americas, where Homo is prepared to see the unknown, the invisible, like the square that isn't there in the center of the image. Now, scale and rate, our spatial and temporal measuring devices, are simultaneously compressed and expanded beyond known limits. Nanoseconds measure a God particle, telescopes show us long ago and far away, genetic engineering proliferates to include everything from designing babies to strawberries with flounder genes. We are reaching into and beyond known boundaries. Relations between organic and inorganic, between human and machine, become ever more prominent yet blurred. Human employment is often predicated on fluency with machines, and they rely on machines for everything from communication to keeping themselves alive beyond their organic ability to sustain themselves. Art provides both an illuminating framework and a variety of responses, from cultural comments such as graffiti or performance art to environmental installations that speak to biophilia, what E.O. Wilson called the human biologic craving for and need of the natural world. Media and design are key to managing, coping, communicating, and even understanding our world of accelerating change. The academic discipline with an embrace large enough to encompass these past and present transformations is world history, within which art provides analytic paradigms, extensive evidence, expertise in design, communications, media, and creativity. Art and world history are a match made in heaven. In honor of the 4 quarters of the earth, here are 4 ways to operationalize these ideas. 1. Build and use a library of books, sites, objects, and ideas. 2. Of the 4 arts in American education, theater, music, dance, and visual art, the latter provides us the longest timeline, but limits a visual presentation like this to what has been photographed. In a perfect world, you would hear music from each of the 4 quarters of the earth, Africa, Oceania, Eurasia, and the Americas, while seeing images from those areas, then make your own art in response. This could take hours, days, weeks, semesters, or even years. It could occur in any one of the 4 present arts, or in the 5th under consideration, which is media. 3. Collaborate with other faculty. History and arts especially, of course, but one could include all others. That would support themes across the disciplines and integrated learning. 4. Use world history to include all of the earth. Begin with whatever is your subject of inquiry, such as an idea or object or event. Identify the quarter in which it resides. How does this idea or object occur in the other 3 quarters of the earth? For example, an interest in fashion might lead to how clothing and costume inform time and place under consideration and how this compares to other times and places in the other 3 quarters. A specific object, such as a beaver hat in the American colonies, may lead to deep inquiries about how what people put on their heads changes over time, shifts social values, impacts trade patterns. When you ask about hats in the colony, ask too, what did people wear on their heads in Oceania at that time? In Africa? In Eurasia? Why do people cover their heads? As you see, this approach is like a magic carpet that lets you go anywhere and everywhere. Begin with your interest and extrapolate to include the rest of the world. If the subject were masks, how were they used in each of the 4 quarters? How about vessels or architecture? What do compass points mean in each time or place? How did people describe times and locations? Welcome to the wonderful world of our shared patrimony, the world of our pan-human, art-based narrative.